It's game number 3, though. So much on the line for King Zone, but specifically for KSV. They know they have to win. They're on the blue side, and King Zone will definitely adapt their pick ban. My question is, do we see Ambition go on his vintage Olaf if it's left open? Because that's the sort of pick that King Zone might leave open for first pick.
I think you have to just take it, even just to deny it away from Peanut, if it doesn't get banned out. For now, though, things are continuing as usual. The Vel'Koz and the Galio, and now Swain do come through.
Was Galio, Swain, and Skarner in game 1 for KSV. King Zone going to ban away the Xayah. So already an adaptation. No Xayah Rakan going to be allowed after 2 games in a row.
Are you scared of the Skarner after that performance from Peanut? Do you ban it again? And the answer is going to be no. They're going to ban the Olaf instead.
So they get a blue side Olaf ban. So Sejuani, Skarner, and Zac are available. Hard to say what the tier list is for Ambition in particular. It's such a wonderful performance in game number 1.
Classic Skarner play.
Do they reach for the Varus?
Ambition.
Varus is a first pick that's available here. Do they reach for that? Or does Ambition prize one side of the matchup? Saw him on screen a moment ago, completely enveloped in thinking about what to do. I'm sure Ruler is very clearly saying, hey man, I'm pretty good at that Varus guy. And they're going to pick it.
Yep. I would have liked to have seen the Skarner through here for Ambition to bring that one back. Classic memes, but will just be the Varus pick up here for KSV, as that Skarner was banned away by King Zone.
That means that Peanut gets his choice of the board, and also the now contested Taliyah goes the way of King Zone as Peanut does some trolling.
Yeah, just flipping through a couple different things. Hovering on the rise, but Sejuani's been left available, so we'll go ahead and just snatch that one up.
And you know what? Ambition will play Zac. You'd have to imagine. Could go back to the Gragas. Outside chance he will against this Sejuani, but Zac is so reliable and I think is such a meta breaker that I'd be surprised to see him not lock it in, so just lock it in now. I mean, the interesting question here is, do we see Karma come through for Crown? Because there's a lot open. He goes for the Azir, which has been a good pick for him to get the Azir versus Taliyah. Karma would have made sense into the Taliyah because you can kind of block her, and also it is a pick they combine with Varus very often, but they get the Azir that frequently gets banned. And it's the side of KSV for King Zone. Maybe looking for a top lane pick here. That would be the pick for Khan. They could double ban as well, so ban away some of the frustrating matchups. And we do see the Camille locked in for Khan first round.
It's been a very sturdy pick for them. They're in the top lane, so let's see what KSV wants to bring out as we enter into the bans. GP first and foremost going to be taken away. So Cube on that one in the last game.
Could ban away Gnar or leave open Gnar, depending on how they feel. Recently in the LCK, Gnar has been winning the Camille matchup, so I would understand the Gnar. And I love this ban from KSV, because I was thinking, okay, King Zone, you're not first rounding your AD carrier support. What's going on? Ashe was a very possible choice to find some more initiation. They might just ban Ashe Jhin on the blue side.
Could be the Jhin, maybe the Tahm Kench banned away as well.
The Jhin is kind of in a weird spot because Zac is very good against Jhin, but the problem is that Zac's not always there when Jhin opens up. He's looking for his elastic slingshot, so he's not always a frontliner to just ignore the Jhin damage. So we'll wait and see how KSV view is. We've seen a lot of Fiora in the LCK, and not always have we been a big fan of it. It's banned away, and it is the double ban, so Ashe and Jhin taken away.
All right, Tahm Kench still available here for King Zone if Gorilla wants to run that, but for now is showing the Braum.
Ezreal Braum seems very likely from King Zone, unless we see Prey roll into something a bit more risky. The Kog'Maw obviously well up his alley. Wait and see what the decision is. Ezreal would make a lot of sense to be a little bit more flexible. Actually going to go to Caitlyn, which not been a big pick at all for Prey on the season. Looking at the matches, just 2 games. It's been a champion that a lot of our best AD carries, including Ruler and Bang, have struggled with recently. But the reason why this is picked, if you consider what's happened before, is you see the utility AD carries banned away, and basically they're saying, hey, you're going to jump on Ezreal, and Varus has lane control on Ezreal. So they're taking Caitlyn to try to get 2v2 priority. They have Caitlyn, who has longer range than the Varus, can push into the Varus, and then counter pick support. So King Zone, after seeing a double utility AD carry ban, have changed their strategy, and they're going to take the most powerful 2v2 and actually go for the Caitlyn Thresh. It seems like the double utility ban actually priced them into picking for lane.
It's banned away by KSV in the last game, but King Zone didn't really care about that. Straight away from the pick bot lane, but now Going for all-out power versus this Varus Braum.
This is very much a mid-game choice by King Zone. They see the Ashe and Jhin ban, and they instantly decide, we've got the Weaver's Wall, we've got the Hextech Ultimatum, and the gank teleport coming through from the Camille. Let's break the bot lane outer turret, roam around with the Thresh, and accelerate the pace of the game. As the game goes on, there's going to be massive backline threat from the Zac. We're not feeling our chances there. I feel like King Zone saw those bans and made a big shift. It's an exciting one, though, because it seems like King Zone, they're not necessarily all in for the early game, but you can clearly see they want to break this game open pre-20 minutes.
Well, need to do just that here for SK Telecom to keep the hopes alive. KSV win game 2. They're looking good coming into this one. Draft's going to be fairly standard from them. Lots of power here behind the Azir and the Varus as the game goes later. See if they can hold out for that long, and if Ambition can create that early pressure yet again here in this game.
And it's comfort. The most played coming through for QV. Very much comfort for the Varus, obviously, as well. Ambition Zac is always pretty polished. KSV have a lot of power, and King Zone seem rushed. They seem like they feel like they're on a clock. That is something that KSV can exploit, especially if Ambition can find any level of replicating his performance in Game 2. That was virtuoso. Good Ambition after some very down time on the Rift so far in spring season.
Well, so far the red side, Talia, has 100% win rate here in this series. Let's see if KSV can turn that around, or if King Zone will be able to close out this series here with a 2-1 victory. KSV already doing the impossible by taking a game away from them. Getting Game 3 would be absolutely nutty. Let's see if they can pull it off as we jump onto the Rift.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
KSV faithful still hanging in there as they get that most recent victory here versus King Zone. Closing this out is going to be a challenge.
Not many things I like more than coming to fully sold out stadium for some Korean League of Legends, and both these fans, you could hear the desperation specifically from the side of KSV. Here are the KSV fans celebrating the 6-year anniversary of Ambition, who did not play in Game 1. If you're joining us late, but plenty of fans on the King Zone side of the booth as well, celebrating good old Hanlabong, previous name of Khan. A lot to go on here. Remember that Khan, if he loses, this will be the first best of 3 that he completed and lost in the entire season at the 18th time of asking.
Again, just upsetting King Zone in multiple ways if they can close this one out. Is KSV just going to get a nice leash there onto Ambition.
When they
accelerate this Zac in the jungle.
So this is the sort of game where a lot can be read in as we do see, I believe that's Lee Ji-hoon, the CEO of KSV's gaming side of things. But what we do see is actually very interesting. So a lot happened at level 1 that looks very standard, but actually on reflection is quite important. You notice that Ruler and Core JJ come into lane, and you know they've given a leash, and we see a lot of Zacs start topside so that their bot lane can just enter lane and get the level 2 push, because Zac is so good at controlling the blue, and Gromp is seeing some nice trading from Ruler and Core JJ.
Yeah, Gorilla going to get punished pretty heavily there off the back of the concussive blows.
The reason why I mention it is knowing that Red was actually taken first camp by Zac makes it predictable where he's going. See, it comes down.
That's going to be Ignite getting burned out as Core JJ flashes away. They get the stun yet again there on a Gorilla, but Core JJ getting punished quite heavily now. Flash and heal gone from the KSV bot lane.
Very important for the side of Prey and Gorilla. Mid lane, we're seeing fighting everywhere.
Yeah, skirmishing is just off the charts right now. Peanut hovering nearby, so BDD feels perfectly fine to go ahead and pressure up onto the Azir.
Peanut is invading as well, so this is what I was going to get to. You know that he's eventually going to be power farming. That's why you go for the invade, because you know he's out of bot side. So the pathing of Ambition was revealed through all of this. Going to be a Gromp steal. And they lose control of the 2v2, because Caitlyn Thresh predictably, as double range, are able to get the lane. I'm very surprised KSV started bot side with their jungler, because if Varus and Braum hit the minion wave first, they're definitely going to be able to hit level 2 and stop that very preferential trade from coming onto Core JJ and Ruler.
Excellent pressure and roam coming through there from BDD and Peanut. Very much synergized as they deny that Gromp away from Ambition. So just hurting him very slightly. It's just going to be the one camp behind here for the moment. as Peanut just goes ahead and starts up those Raptors. Overall, the pressure from King Zone has been palpable in the lanes. BDD getting jumped on, his crown goes forward. Seismic Shove's going to connect yet again, but he's standing on worked ground here for the moment as they try to trade back. Heal comes out from both sides. Flashes still in, but BDD going to be much lower on the HP, so they have to go their separate ways.
And look, Crown was able to win healed chicken, so that's a little victory for him there. BDD the first to use it. Like you say, it was on worked ground, so there was no ability for him to get the last started volley through and get the kill. Backs away. Has enough gold to get the tier. It's not going to be a massive punish coming through, but getting the preferential back timing is always happy times for Crown.
Who's going to win Flash Chicken now is going to be the next question. As Core JJ, he's been topped back up.
I was reminded we don't have Birdio yet and got sad when you mentioned Flash Chicken.
You know, there's always summer split, Papa Smithy.
We also don't have BBQ anymore this season, so
Yeah.
the free chicken quotient is gone. In case you were wondering, OGN Legion.
This is true. Their season is over. That means that we have to pay for our chicken now. I'm happy to do that.
Speak for yourself, Kilios. Well, Ambition just wants to farm to level 6 now.
It's a circle of chicken, Papa Smithy. If I don't pay for my chicken, then BBQ doesn't have the money to sponsor the LCK and or to support a team, whereupon they don't bring free chicken.
I want to joke with you, but actually a lot is happening here. Ambition is there for the counter game, expecting the turret dive.
The wrap around the back here, Juve. Still going to be in that Mega Gnar form, gets the wallop in, and now it's going to be a jump here straight onto Khan. He gets chunked down to half HP right as Peanut arrives. It's for the lockup. They go into the hook shot. They do find the stun.
Turret shot.
Turret shot connects in onto Khan. He's got a kite away. Barely misses there on the boomerang. Wouldn't have killed him, but would have slowed him up enough for Crown to get here in time. It seems like he'll be able to exit with his life as Peanut is just playing in between Crown and the rest of his team. He'll take the Arctic Assault over the wall, get some vision, and everyone will go their separate ways. In the meantime, down bot, hook connects in underneath the turret, onto Ruler, but the Unbreakable blocks all of the damage output from Prey and Gorilla.
It's really nicely done by Peanut. He went up and took free damage. You say, why was he doing that? He was doing that to make sure that the Azir wasn't going to flash onto the very low health Khan and kill him. So he needed to take one for the team and scout where the Azir was. So that was a good bit of jungling there from Peanut that might have gone missed. A lot of tension going on here. Very, very nice pathing from Ambition to be there for the counter gank. He showed himself to make them second-guess themselves because he knew Crown wasn't going to make it there for a 3v3. So he perfectly knew his role when it came to the top lane. Now he's on flash-breaking duty, but he gets level 5, some cheeky experience as well.
Pushing down into the brush here is Peanut, not spotted. Makes his way in.
He has a lot of ability to gap close if the death sentence hits especially.
Only level 4 though, so doesn't have the ultimate. Nobody here in the bottom side going to be level 6, and he's just going to go his separate ways. Everyone playing back, just like BDD there in the mid lane as we took a look at him.
Yeah, odd that he's ahead in monsters killed, but not been able to hit level 5. Probably was just half an experience or half a camp away from it. And Ambition already has level 5. Tense game, finals feel with this full crowd.
Yep.
Sort of thing, as I mentioned already, is awesome to see. And so far, it's been a very technical game. I love when decisions like do we leash for the jungler or not can have huge ramifications on the game, one way or the other, sort of thing that would be only clear on a replay. Khan, because of all the help, has been able to generate a CS lead in the Camille versus Gnar matchup that we haven't seen the last 5 or 6 times it's hit the Rift. Even from great players like Smeb jumping onto that pick, the Gnar side has been pretty heavily winning.
Every time a Sand Soldier comes up, it's just DMs. That's all I can think of, that icon. Crown would love to slide into BDD's DMs right now. Shurima shuffle his way in.
I don't know what the young kids are up to these days, Kilios. My generation, we didn't have DMs to slide into. Peanut power farming. Those level 6s that, as you mentioned, weren't there. Going to be there very soon. I'm excited to see if Khan can cultivate this lane further, because as Zac hits level 7 and then 9, you get increasingly paranoid about how deep your vision needs to be to make the Zac accountable. But double Ninja Tabi, double Doran Shield.
Hooray!
No, it doesn't double the excitement, guys, in case you're
No, it
wondering.
really doesn't. It actually cuts it in half.
But
with Peanut's arrival,
the Polar Rider makes it more exciting, but kill pressure seems pretty limited. Flashes up on the side of Cuvée.
and we're back to 0.
The implied excitement is there.
Yeah. For a moment, as soon as I saw the recall, I knew it was done.
See how Prey goes on the Caitlyn. As we mentioned, a lot of AD carries haven't been able to pull off as cleanly, being the big pick in the EULCS especially, and it was adopted as the Tristana nerfs came through, and no one plays Tristana anymore in Korea if they want to win. Was picked for about 3 weeks there.
Ambition going to be looking for the roam up, but that brush has been warded. So the fun will continue to not exist.
He gets the pretty quick memo and just leaves the lane.
Yeah, well, all right then.
Bot side, Ocean Drake the first spawn in this game, but no Olaf, so no solo of it from Pina, despite knowing that Ambition's top side. Didn't want to face check any brush there, did Ambition? That was the most exciting thing on the Rift at that moment, guys.
Nor did he want to take the Scuttle Crab, apparently.
I think it's just that he couldn't afford to take it because he didn't know where the enemy jungler was.
That's fair.
So it's always about the what ifs. If it looks completely tone deaf, there's probably a reason to it. We've learned in Korea, but sometimes we just have a fiesta and everyone's having a good time.
That's true.
This series has not been a fiesta. This series has actually been
Very exciting.
very exciting, and also
For all the right reasons.
the logical flow has been there, apart from a couple of Peanut's face checks that were a bit ill-advised. As
Yeah.
Peanut himself is bot lane.
He's working his way down here. It's going to be the ace
They
of the
get
hole
the
coming
Unbreakable.
through.
Notice the Unbreakable's on cooldown. They're going to try this
down,
play.
The hook comes through. Poor JJ trying to get locked, trying to lock him up. They come over the wall. They lock in that Varus, and he's going to get popped as Gorilla finds that first blood. Now BDD off the backside of the Weaver's wall comes in. Wall's going to get destroyed. Core JJ just a couple hits left to go. Tries to cheat his way into the minions to avoid that threaded volley, but he gets taken down in the end. 2 kills plus that first blood going over to King Zone 10 minutes in.
One cooldown being down, and Gorilla fully pulls the trigger. He's happy to get the Death Sentence onto the support, knowing they're going to get the AD carry anyway. Ruler dies with everything up. He did not actually have his wits around him when it came to dodging an ultimate from the Sejuani and died straight after it. Wouldn't have got away with his summoners. Watching the replay, again, they see Unbreakable and they say, this is the time. Peanut's actually slow to engage, so Ruler's clearly focusing on Prey and Gorilla and just doesn't have his wits around him to flash away from the Sejuani ultimate. BDD gets first roam, even though there was a control ward defensively on the side of KSV on their own jungle. That was a very narrow play to make, but it gets a huge advantage for the side of King Zone.
They even drop the box and it doesn't even get proc. Not a single wall on that destroyed. And they still managed to walk away with both of those kills onto the bot lane of KSV. Ambition trying to drag something back here as far as objectives are concerned. So he starts up that Ocean Drake, and Core JJ will go ahead and support him in this endeavor.
Seismic Shove was just used, and a chunk out got a heal from Crown, but the bot lane is only now getting to lanes. They're not in position to contest this.
See that chunk going there onto Kron. Then you look at his inventory. He hasn't shopped in a while. He still has the Ninja Tabby in the door and shield, so this should be a massive purchase for him. Sheen perhaps, if not the Phage that he wants to match. Maybe some more on top.
Usually about burst trades against Gnar, because the Walk of Shame away where you take 3 or 4 autos and summon an Aerie twice, no fun. So go for the burst trades of the Sheen. Still a lot of options in mini Gnar form, especially for QV.
He almost got both. BGD now, though, roaming up towards the top side.
Control ward is here, but doesn't spot until now.
Yeah, now he's going to be spotted. No Weaver's Wall to speak of yet, but Peanut, he's waiting. Here he comes. Gonna miss that initial hit. The seismic shove forces out the flash. So QV shoved away from the turret. This will allow Khan to get quite a bit of damage in with that Sheen, but taking it is still not going to happen yet.
Gonna actually invest Ambition's time here as well. We see Weaver's Wall as Prey and Gorilla walk up. Prey actually gets the movement speed increase from the fleet footwork to close the distance further. Crown gets a big chunk on mid lane turret, but against Talia, not the easiest thing to return to. Still, free damage is free damage at the end of the day.
Yeah, can still just maintain control of this without, unless we have a major all-in, which is looking possible here as Core JJ and Ruler do arrive. They were spotted out. So King Zone already on the rotation.
Camille's
Tries to
coming
deny
as
this.
well.
Hook comes in, seismic shove not going to hit. They want to go under the turret. Ambition thinks better of it as they see Khan here clearing out the ward.
Every team is trying to one-up each other when it comes to the lane assignment, and there's nothing more to draw a lot of teleport and action than a very low mid-lane turret, sort of thing that people will rotate from far and wide to see, just like this best of 3 between KSV and King Zone. But Khan's able to back away, continues to grow a CS lead in a matchup that we've seen Nara traditionally win recently by about 20 CS. So Khan definitely in a good spot to split push. The game goes on, and worth noting there has been that indirect nerf onto the Frozen Mallet recently, so the Gnar side of the matchup did get at least a little bit weaker. Been incremental nerfs to Gnar as While his hop was buffed, there was the nerf on the cooldown reduction on Q, was mid
looking
lane.
for BDD yet again here. Ambition will go ahead and get the grab, smacks them together into that nice rim of shuffle. They push him back towards the turn. He'll take a shot. BDD is just trying to kite his way out of here, but he's got no summoner spells left. It's just a matter of time as he goes down.
And the top lane, CoreJJ had roamed up as well with teleport in order to stop the gank coming off. So success in the mid lane. BD had both summoners, but not able to get out. A good moment for KSV, a steadier after they were losing big in the bot lane. So nice move from them to circumvent a period of time where King Zone got the 3 or 4 picks to close games many times.
Go roam here into the mid lane, clearing out some vision. Going for a play there on the crown, just not going to be in the books for them yet.
We just don't often have this tension, Achilles, because you think of traditional sports and we have, multiple games being playing at the same time, the live crowd is hearing the results in a different stadium, and what it means for playoffs. This is all about playoff implications today. The whole race largely is decided by the close of today's broadcast. SKT should know if their match against Hongdu tomorrow is just the last time they'll see the team until the summer split, or if there will be playoffs on the line. They've done so much work, SKT, to rebuild. They looked great 4 games in a row, but it could mean nothing if they close 6-0 at the end of the season. If King Zone are upset by KSV, who are looking more and more like they are a force to be reckoned with.
Yep. Only going to be about 2,000 gold separating them here at the moment. The Ocean Drake is still there for KSV. 1-2 as far as the kills are concerned. That first brick advantage there for King Zone. So a lot more work to be done for either side to close out this game. KSV, they're not going down without a fight. This is not game 1 all over again, at least not yet.
As the game goes later and later, it should be considered that there is Zac on the side of KSV, and while Sejuani is very powerful, Zac has this ability to warp a teamfight in a way that very few other champions do. The kidnap effect. We talk so much about front-to-back teamfights, which means the AD carry hits the tank at the front and eventually kills him, and then he can kill the other threats. Zac gets into the back line with immense range, and then can actually make a backliner a frontliner, which does warp fights. It can just solo win a game. That's not something that King Zone have, except for the Hextech Ultimatum guaranteeing positioning. So it feels like KSV might actually have the tools as the game goes on to really win these true 5v5s at 35 minutes. We're still at 16. We still have King Zone opening up the map and having the ability to run with the Thresh, who here he is.
CoreJJ going to get locked down the box, and the flag not going to hit. I think he might be okay, but no, the Weaver's Wall's going to come down. Glacial Fissure thrown in. Ult connects here from Peanut as they really want to take down this Braum, but they're not going to be able to get him in the end. Lantern's been taken. Prey, he's left out to dry. Jumps away with a 90 caliber net and seems like he will be okay. Nobody pinching around from the backside, but that was looking a bit worrisome there for King Zone.
Yeah, fishing for summoner spells was King Zone. They were able to get the flash out from CoreJJ, but couldn't get the second summoner from Raw. I don't think they actually saw a kill. Realistically picked up there. Juve's in a nice spot when it comes to lane control now, pushing up onto Khan, who really took the back end of a bad trade. Perhaps he was looking for a roam bot lane, as BDD's certainly on the roam.
For an opportunity, perhaps, to take down Juve. For now, Ambition actually going to go ahead and focus on this Rift Herald. Haven't seen it in our first 2 games.
And also, we're 17 minutes into the game, and we always talk about what a vision line means. They've got 2 control wards around Prey and no other vision on the map, so King Zone with an early rotation comp who wants to get the Thresh out of lane, rotate around and make picks, actually don't have the vision to do so. And thus, they can create a vision line, but they will lose the Rift Herald on the top side of the map.
Yeah, and more than that, I mean, KSV, they take the mid turret against the Talia without having to use the Rift Herald, and now they have that. So they can break another turret somewhere around the map of their choosing, whether it's bot or top. Top already being prepped quite a bit by the Gnar. King Zone will be able to answer a Cloud Drake, but that's about it.
Cloud Drake, it is 8.5, so at least it's a Drake to be excited about. A third spawn Ocean, less exciting. It's the 1-1 we can look at and roll our eyes a little bit. Does mean perhaps there will be even more topside focus than usual at 23.5 minutes into the game. Baron on the Rift. Sun turret taken out, no excitement around that. Game in a very tenuous spot. If you look at the items that are completed, KSV right now has more power in the team fight. Nashal's Tooth and Rageblade outclass Static Shiv and Archangels when it comes to combat. But King Zone aren't really about combat. They're about hitting the Rift with Thresh and Caitlyn roam. Caitlyn has all of her flat AD and the static shiv for pushing and taking down objectives, but they don't have the vision to do that safely. And if they just continue to lane, KSV will have the team fight item advantage, and that can be really big at swinging the game.
Well, definitely a bit slower here in game number 3. There's so much pressure stacked against these teams. Roma up towards the top side here. Khan waiting in the brush. Bit of damage there. Tries to jump away, but gets interrupted on the hook shot. Now has to flash. They get the grab. He slows them up. Shrimba Shuffle, or Emperor's Divide rather, not really going to get the connection. They throw in the ultimate there from the Sejuani, but they don't get the lockdown. Nice play there as Cube pushes 3 back, but he is isolated, and he will get taken down. Khan finds the 3rd kill here for King Zone as they try to turn up the heat.
Turn into some sort of Avengers versus Justice League thing as everyone was rotating topside. King Zone, they were in formation first. I guess that makes them the Avengers.
Tries to go back in, but Gorilla gets the play. They get the hook down, and that's going to be a punish onto the Zac. Passive gets popped. Cube not there for the TP, but seems like the members of King Zone unable to get in a position to actually punish him and get the kill.
They really want the turret as well. If this was a minute later, Baron could potentially have been rushed. But because they only get the passive, they will eventually, you'd imagine, take this turret. Very extended battle around topside because of what was on the line. Gonna watch the replay. It seemed like King Zone be dead to rights. Awkwardly, Ambition hit the cube, had nothing to auto-attack, get the first stun. Then BDD comes in confidently. Someone has to die, something has to give, and while Nar has his flash up, he's the one that has the death sentence. It's definitely true. A kill and the passive. And speaking of Baron,
boy,
they're trying to rush it.
Okay, might have to have
King
a
Zone
replay
have no
for this one.
idea.
They have no clue that this is happening. KSV are just rushing down the Baron, completely blind. Here's King Zone, and they are about to get a very ill omen right there as they get that audio cue. They realize what's happened. They didn't have any vision nearby. The damage output from this Varus, from this Azir, is so significant, even at 20 minutes, that they just burn it down as soon as it spawns.
Second time this season, KSV have stolen a Baron under the noses of their opponent. King Zone are known for their good Barons. With the Baron damage of Nashal's Tooth and Rage Blade, it's very well engineered by KSV. I mentioned a moment ago that if that pick had happened at 20 minutes, King Zone would have been the one to start the Baron. This time, it's KSV. Well taken, and while they'll get an answering outer turret, certainly not what they were looking for. Very nice play by KSV.
Absolutely bonkers. Would love to see the start of that one.
I mean, the start of that one's pretty implied, though, because we saw the pick and the passive being broken at 19 minutes 30. We watched a replay, and King Zone fully disengaged.
Yeah, just straight into recalls, back to the base.
And KSV went straight over and took the Baron off spawn. Really nicely done. The sort of decisive shot call you need in close games. This is certainly the epitome of a close game, and the Rift Herald is summoned, but it's with the Baron, and it's going to mean top lane outer turret. Falls in a second.
Still just so odd to see King Zone pull away from that top side of the map and not even throw down any vision around the Baron pit. So, a bizarre situation from these guys. One that could cost them quite a bit. Peanut waiting over the wall here is invisible for the most part. He's got that control ward thrown down, so no one catching him out yet as he just roams around.
Even the option's open to engage, but you pick the wrong engage against Baron, you lose your base. So,
yeah,
King Zone find themselves in a very delicate spot.
They're just trying to turtle up here for the moment.
Again, their items aren't necessarily in a massive place of power. 2 items on Caitlyn is decent, but nothing to write home about. Vision trying to zone. They want this Baron buff to take more turrets.
He goes into the back, uses the kidnap to avoid that seismic shove, and takes himself back out to safety. Ultimate thrown out by Sejuani will get the cleanse away from core JJ, but that's about it as they try to hold on to this mid-tier 2.
And Khan was doing so well in this lane. Doesn't mean much now that the Baron is there. Won't feel strong enough to all in. They will slowly use this turret as...
Say that wrong. The exec ultimatum, and now BDD does arrive.
Nice.
They take out Cuvée, alleviating a lot of pressure in that split push and saving that turret here for the moment.
He didn't want the 1v1, but the 2v1, that was feeling pretty good. Nice little assistance there from BDD. They get 1 Baron buff down. That's a nice moment for the side of King Zone. But now the rest of the team will do the dirty work. They're going to show a lot of respect still because Khan's teleport is up.
It does have that one ready to go. Really here. He's helping control the wave. We'll go ahead and keep that turret alive even further. So nice answering kill there for King Zone as they do maintain a gold lead through this Baron buff.
And it's one of those things where now you take a step back and say, what did the Baron get them? It got them gold parity, or close to gold parity, through that play and equalized some of the map pressure. on the map. So it took an objective away. It meant it was something that King Zone couldn't return to, but it wasn't the game breaker Baron. That one's probably coming on second spawn.
Yeah, it was about just a mild Baron play coming out there from KSV. Just buying them some more time and keeping them competitive. Ocean Drake's getting ready to come up. Haha, let's get excited for that.
Yeah, no. Only going to be bookkeeping if it's taken, as Crown instantly deletes the turret. Morelnomicon on both of the mid laners. Crown will have an easier time proccing it on a whole team because Talia's damage very often does not go through the front line.
See, isn't this exciting?
I mean, at least it dies pretty fast. See ya, Ocean Drake. Wait and see if it's going to be another Ocean. Sometimes they're slow to update. Seems like another Ocean, Achilles.
Oh my god.
Life is truly a beach.
Whew, we are... I just don't even have words. We're just rolling in the hype right now.
Now,
Smithy.
Let's talk about Ruler's build. He had a Bilgewater Cutlass. He completes it. It's a 2-item Blade of the Ruined King. You don't see that second item very often. Very single target focused build. Doesn't have the Wit's End, and he does have both Azir and the Zac damage, which would prosper from it. But looking at the enemy team, think about what magic damage is going to hit Ruler. Probably nothing, because Talia, unless she gets a seismic shove, isn't actually going to be threading volleys onto the Varus. I actually like Blade of the Ruined King to try to self-peel with the active, and in general, the fact that he doesn't feel like he needs Wit's End, because the magic resist value against King Zone is pretty low.
King Zone right now, grouping up just a bit around the mid lane as Khan is just hovering here by the river. Clear out this control ward. Give them a little bit more presence, but pushing in for that turret is just still so very difficult. King Zone have to play this one very cautiously as they try to look for vision control, which can lead to a pick off the backside of this Thresh.
Speaking of vision, some really nicely placed vision on the bot side. Spotted out the Sejuani. I always like watching these non-typical wards because teams will watch these games and then emulate them, and then they'll be scouted later. You think of deep control wards going in and out of the meta. Vision spots are also like that. You thought of the famous ward to the left of the Baron pit that everyone sweeps for now, that used to save you games.
Jumping in, looking for Peanut, but he's got the Arctic Assault over the wall. Hook going to go wide.
Another time Ambition had nothing to order, so wasn't able to get the CC interruption. Warmog's complete. I haven't seen the health values. It's possible that the Warmog's passive isn't up on Peanut. It's usually around 13 or 14 you actually get over 3,000 health with 2 items. He has the Ruby Crystal, so it might be now. That is a change on 8.5. The health threshold going up to 3,000 on the Warmogs, and the Cinderhulk multiplier going down 5%.
Yeah, just the plus 250.
3,038. So he's a Ruby Crystal into getting the Warmogs healing. Little thing that wasn't even thought about before, but now 2 items doesn't auto give you the Warmogs greater healing. Nice items being put together on many members. BDD, I imagine it will be the Death Cap as his 3rd item.
An attempt was made for the ace in the hole, where JJ, not even having to use stand behind me, just walks up and blocks that one out.
You'll see a lot of things thrown at a Braum to see if it draws an Unbreakable. That actually happens quite a lot, because that cooldown being down really stops him from being the same champion. Only has ultimate for a Nope button.
He's a 2-trick pony.
You know, it's mostly true. He has his Q for laning phase, his W to run away most of the time, and then his E and his R are all of his power in the late game. Baron was the source of KSV being able to get into this game, and second Baron spawns, and there's no gold lead. 3rd game in between King Zone and KSV.
Ambition thinking about jumping forward there with the elastic slingshot. Will not do so, and the hook goes wide, so that threat's down here for the moment.
They can't see Ambition, so it's almost impossible for King Zone to make a play, as positioning against an unknown large engage range champion is very, very difficult. See Peanut. He's definitely not going to be leaving any latitude around Baron again. Here's the pick.
Yeah, they're looking for a Chain Eruption coming in. He's going to get absolutely obliterated. Khan just had no chance of getting his way out of there, even with the flash available. Now KSV rather looking to pressure around the Baron. A Weaver's Wall will delay them here for a little bit, but it's still 40 seconds left on the Khan.
But delaying is important because, as you say, they can start to push up mid lane and force KSV to react, and then teleport maybe up. We're down to 30 seconds, so KSV going on to Baron. That's not going to happen. Weaver's wall was
Great,
smart. He's looking for a second engage.
Ambition's going to come in. The play comes back, but he smacks two together. The box comes down, and Gorilla goes golden. They're trying to stay alive. Ambition nearly gets popped. Prey
Gorilla gets out.
trying to get that Zac, but Ambition will be able to exit with his life. King Zone yet again just building up the pressure here into the mid lane, forcing KSV to get drawn away from that Baron.
Man, that stopwatch basically bought them Baron's safety. So important for Gorilla to stay alive there.
Han's alive now.
Be able to go bot lane and answer the push. All right, let's King Zone get a little bit more time, a little bit more breathing room. We can't see how many control wards are in the inventory for the side of King Zone. That's so important because counting control wards is the new way to guarantee a Baron. They might look for Gorilla again.
Looking for another one here. Lantern comes down. Gorilla gets the flay, but he's going to get dragged back in yet again. And Prey, he just takes the Lantern straight up into the front line. Now he's going to get popped up as QB chases forward. Down very low is Gorilla and Prey, but they manage to kite their way back. BDD buying them some space here as Peanuts over on the top side. Arctic Assault takes him out to safety. Glacial Prison comes down, locks in Ambition. As King Zone keep playing with fire. Another chain of corruption with the shield helps keep him alive, and they drag him back out. Everybody getting so very low, but nobody dying on either side.
So delicate. You can rewatch that fight a few times to fully understand how nobody dies. Peanut's getting his healing back, but Ambition looking to pick him again.
Already basically back up to full HP, but Peanut yet again has the charge to take himself out to safety. Crown has to answer this wave up top.
And this is the moment, Achilles. This is when the game is won by either team. The next Baron should decide it. And because it means so much to so many groups of fans, not just the world champions, not just King Zone, but also the SKT fans, even the Rocks fans out there, every single time someone dies from this point onwards, it may be the decider in the playoff race.
Well, they're looking for Peanut yet again. Ambition comes riding in, but he doesn't have the grab. But should be able to take away this Scuttle Crab and get some of that semi-permanent vision here in front of the pit. Peanut would love to just go forward and try to take that one away, but knows that an Emperor's Divide would just push him back into the lane, or into the river, further in towards the members of KSV, so he has to just go ahead and surrender that over.
And it feels like King Zone win a fight with a pick. They need a seismic shove into a deletion because in a traditional fight, Azir and Varus will have an easier time doing consistent damage. We already mentioned the threat of Zac. But King Zone don't have vision control to get that sort of a pick, so is there going to be a mistake? Is there going to be a huge flank? We don't know yet. But your mind does start to wander as it's been almost impossible for King Zone to get any control around the Baron ever since the first one was soloed around 20 minutes into the game by KSV.
BDD looking for that Rabbidan's Death Cap now, has a double needlessly large rod in the inventory. And that will certainly help with getting those picks, getting that deletion damage in onto somebody.
It's also
But
flat
still.
AP. We see a lot of Leandries and other items on Taliyah. What Death Cap gives uniquely is pushing. If you want to be in the side lane, more AP means more damage from your first rotation onto minions especially, means that KSV have to react. So it's very much more about map control than necessarily being the zero-sum choice to do the most damage in a fight. So that's the delicate thing there, as we don't often see the earlier Death Caps onto the Taliyah. Such a tense game. As Khan is in the old Hoonie spot of needing to split push with no vision, never much fun. All in here, if you look at Khan versus QV, it'll be pretty even at these item spots. The Tiamat not into a Titanic Hydra yet.
Yeah.
There are no Ravenous Hydra. The choice here is more for team fighting with the Sterix Gauge second rather than the Ravenous Hydra we usually see. Whereas the Warden's Mail already complete from QV for a bit of turnaround. That means that Khan will continue to group. He went a grouping item, so it makes sense for him to group more often than some of our other Camille's. Zone feels strong enough to walk up and put down vision around Baron, which wasn't always possible a few minutes ago, especially when Camille was dead. Right now, it's all about this vision war. It's all about who makes the biggest mistake. Yes, we have more options to engage because engage range is much longer from Ambition. Maybe Ambition holds this entire series and their playoff hopes in his own hands because of the unique nature of Zac. Wait, we start counting control wards. It's only 2 on Sejuani. All of them placed down by Gorilla. He backs, he gets 3.
Yeah.
You do wonder if there should be more on some of the other members here. Full items already for the Varus, and the stopwatch being sat upon by BDD. At least with the Death Cap, he can... He doesn't even have gold for a control ward. That's just going to be the Death Cap straight up built by BDD, but no control ward. KSV, they see a blank inventory. In fact, just now,
They're
they
starting
start
this
the
up.
Baron.
They're keeping 3 members here in Vision, playing with the minds of King Zone as they try to push over Peanut.
He has 2. He can check this.
He'll get around the backside of the pit. Hasn't thrown anything in yet. Pushes one here into the front brush, but still has no vision of the pit. But now they're going to spot Ambition. They know that this is not being taken at the moment.
This wall
the hole
doesn't cut off anyone.
Unbreakable's down yet again. They get the seismic jump there on a core JJ as Khan takes a hell of a lot of damage, down to half HP. He does get himself taken out to safety by that dark passage.
Weaver's Wall didn't cut off
to base.
any threats. I'm not sure if it interrupted the channel from Zach, but we never did see the Elastic Slingshot. That's a cooldown down. It's one of their big team fight splitters that can actually cause a big lead. Did you get summoners from Core JJ? That is something. Now the Braum is the sort of person who could be picked. He tries to walk forward for Vision.
They start this up yet again, though. Vision gets thrown down. They
Just
see
a
this
normal
started.
ward.
Yep, normal ward. Buys them time as KSV peel back yet again.
They saw bot lane, the Camille had left. So they're like, okay, we can get at least a control ward. But the Camille has hit side lane.
Seismic shove doesn't find anything there.
Such a delicate place in the game. Very, very hard for KSV to have safety to actually start the Baron because they can't get control wards down, especially now that Braum has no summoners.
Peanut pushing forward yet again, looking for the Vision. BDD roaming over from the top side of the map. They have that ward down in the back. They know that this is being taken. The hook does not connect from Gorilla.
No control
Baron
ward
down
yet.
to half HP. Ruler and Crown both chunking this one out the Glacial Prison. Not going to find anything. They have Vision from the Lantern there into the pit. Hook connects on the Cube, but they can't push forward off of that.
You've got to love Khan, who stays on the red buff and never teleports through all of that, even though we saw the Baron go down to 5,000 health. They get the recalls out of KSV. This is going to be a free turret for King Zone.
They're going to take this one away, and maybe they can interrupt some of these backs. Peanut pushes forward, stops Crown and Ambition. The rest of the team is still hovering nearby, but they're not going for the picks. Instead, Khan will just go ahead, get that inner turret and bot. Vision thrown down.
We British have a term. It's not always the most broadcast acceptable.
Yet again.
But we're definitely seeing it here.
Go ahead, spit it out.
Well, this is a bit more important right now. We're holding on to it, but Kios, we call this squeaky bum time. This is when it's the end of a sports season, and it has huge ramifications. We're seeing it right now. How many people around the world, King Zone, KSV, SKT fans, are clenching, wondering where this game will go, knowing that the next move in the game could decide it. We're seeing it on our screens right now. And we do see he's
that's
actually
going to be
engaged.
engaged coming through. Cube going to get locked in by the ultimatum. Seismic shove connects, and yet again, the duo of Camille and Talia comes up with a kill onto the Gnar. That's an immense amount of pressure alleviated here for King Zone, but they find themselves on the complete opposite side of the map. Could TP in with the Camille, but BDD has to run all the way over to that Baron if they want to start it.
They're definitely going to start it. You'd have to think. They start the Baron. They have the teleport coming from the Camille. If the ultimatum not available, here's the teleport.
It's going to be BDD coming in from behind the members of KSV as they start this one up. It's down.
It's not the world's fastest Baron, Achilles.
50% HP. They look to take this one away.
Mission one level up.
He's going to be leaping in. The play comes through. The box has been thrown down. 3,500 left here onto this Baron. In the meantime, Emperor's Divide comes through. BDD tries to chunk out Crown, but he pushes the Sand Soldiers forward, but he hasn't been able to get the kill yet. Flash away in the meantime. Prey doing so much work. Comes up with a double kill, and King Zone might have just swung their way back into this game. BDD will go down, but Prey finds the triple kill in the end. Ambition gonna fall as Khan claims it. They're gonna get the Baron, and KSV's hopes might have just disappeared.
King Zone may have won this game from their play around bot side. They finally got Vision over Baron. They got the all-important pick onto Cuvée, and the entire passage of play afterwards was the first time KSV were out of position on Baron in a good on 20 minutes, Achilles. They were able to finally get control. They made the decisive call to go away from the Baron to get the pick, and now they push with Baron and want to break the base.
They'll be able to do just that, even with 10 seconds left here on the Ruler. You expect to get a decent push going. We'll go ahead and take down the inner turret. We'll see the Gnar rotating over, and we'll go ahead and kite back. So no inhibitors to be taken yet, but we'll take another look at this fight for now.
This play can never happen if they aren't able to get the kill bot lane, but they got control to start the Baron. Prey gets away, and in the back line, notice that BDD at least distracts and buys time. Crown does AoE damage, but he's just 1v1ing the Talia the entire time, and Khan has his way because it's still going to be a numbers advantage for the side of King Zone. Do note that Gnar is still 5 seconds away from respawning.
Well, suddenly King Zone surge forward here with a lead, 7,000 gold, up over KSV. But before, this was just a few hundred really separating these teams. Baron still in their inventory for 2.5 minutes. No Elder Dragon to be spoken of yet.
And how did they get the advantage? What was the play that did it? It was going bot lane, no teleport being used from Khan, for even though the Baron was down to 5,000 health, forcing KSV to back to get vision control, then actually sending their mid lane a bot lane to get a kill and starting Baron. It was a very cascading thing, the sort of thing that Zyrene was able to highlight from one of their previous series against KT. It took a lot of determination, and the fact that Khan never got the call to teleport, never did, and the advantage they got is massive.
It's one of those chess moves where you're several steps ahead of your opponent and you bait them into the trap. Beautifully done here by King Zone. KSV pressure certainly on more than it has been throughout this entire series.
So King Zone hit the Rift and are 7 steps ahead of teams very often. But in this game, KSV has made them absolutely show their best stuff. King Zone have definitely found a really willing opponent who's been on great in this series. It took a very technical play to actually get them their leads, but they could close it with a couple of picks around the inhibitor.
Threatening that elastic slingshot, won't go forward with it, as the turret just keeps getting whittled away at by these Baron-empowered minions.
Still not over though. 8,000 gold lead, it's nice, but we're late enough in the game that people had 3-4 items. Stranger things have happened. A mistake can still decide the game.
Matters less and less. Nice wave will crash into the turret and do quite a bit of work there onto that inner and top. The rest of King Zone, they just have their eyes focused here onto the mid lane with Khan threatening in bot.
Do you make the emergency engage if you're KSV? You know that BD will take time to move over.
Yeah, no Weaver's Wall up. It's still halfway on cooldown.
No minion wave. That's why there was a bit of time for them to back away.
They will send Ruler over to answer. No, actually swap out. And Crown will go ahead and catch these minions.
Through all of this, Ravenous Hydra and a BF sword has been completed by Khan. He now has the teamfight build he has before, but also enough ADs to both whack turrets and whack the Gnar. So things get better and better in the side lane, as you can see.
Final shot there in mid and bot as the inhibitors are exposed. King Zone looking to close this up. Sand turret comes down. Khan takes a big chunk off of Cubase as Peanut is locked up there for the moment, but has that Dark Passage to take himself back out to safety. Half HP on both of these, now down to a third as one in mid goes down. And all of KSV just have to crap over around here, try to turtle out this final inhib, but Khan gets one more hit off that Sheen. It's going to go down.
They want to force because Krulak doesn't have flash to get back over the wall, but they're being respectful. They know they are so close to basically denying any hopes of playoffs to KSV.
Lockdown comes through. They find Core JJ. They don't go in, but Ambition does. Immediately, they're on the box. He's going to get popped. Yeah, no passive to speak of. Prey finds the kill, and just like that, he engages out the window. 2 inhibitors down. No Baron buff left, but King Zone are going to have these super creeps pushing into the base momentarily.
Ambition got desperate. Also, the Chains of Corruption just goes wide from Roar. That one that hit onto Faker decided the World Championship. That one goes wide. They're looking to potentially end the game. There is an Azir. There is a Varus. There's no guarantees.
They look for another hook there. Don't find it. KSV is doing everything they can to burn through the minion waves that are pushing forward.
Look how much gold they're sitting on. 17. There's about 10,000 gold in the inventory. Which means the gold is pretty even.
Mount Hook comes in. That's going to be Gorilla going in for the hit. He's going to get locked up. The turret goes down before it can finish off the Thresh.
Prey's falling really low.
Jumped out, but he's gone back in. Gets a massive crit straight in onto Crown. And now they found Core JJ. No Unbreakable. No one to block the damage. And Prey is just letting all hell break loose here onto the members of KSV. Ambition comes back up, tries to trade something back, tries to pop the Guardian Angel there onto Khan, but he cannot do anything. King Zone will close this out in the end. It was hard fought. It was heartfelt from KSV, but in the end, they fall short. King Zone are the kings of the LCK. They will ride into that grand finals 3 weeks from now with a 2-1 win over the world champions.
And that means that the world champions are all but eliminated from the LCK playoffs. They require SKT to lose to Kongdu Monster or a pretty significant loss by Rocks Tigers against Jin Air. It's not written in stone, it's not written in blood, but it's pretty much inked Achilles. The KSV will not be able to back up their world championship with a playoff run. And for once, for the first time in so many years, it was always the question. You asked, oh, you're into the LCK, you an SKT fan, or you're a Rocks Tigers fan? Of course, that has evolved into King Zone and SKT. For once, they were together, Achilles, hand in hand. They wanted to see their team win. On this day, it was King Zone DragonX.
Oh, boy.
They didn't have the stakes, but look at the effect it is on KSV. Crown knows The staff around the team of KSV know that may be it on their season. It's a devastating thing to watch. This was supposed to be the year where KSV got over their world championship and were able to actually win on Korean soil. And you can see for Crown how much it means.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most brutal reactions we've seen as KSV get denied away from the playoffs, essentially.
It's the culmination of 18 best of threes, of so much criticism sent the way of KSV by everyone involved. And you can understand that Crown, one of the people that has received most of it, is feeling the raw emotion that all those months of preparation may mean nothing, will likely mean nothing. It seems like KSV will have to retool for summer season. They were the first squad to ever keep their World Championship lineup together, and it seems like the World Champions were not good enough for LCK Spring 2018.
Well, King Zone, even despite the victory, they already knew they were locked into the grand final. They wanted a 2-0 victory here to have that total domination riding into the playoffs.
And you know what they got? They got to kick up the bum, Achilles. They got found out by KSV in this series. They were maybe 52-48, but they certainly did not wipe the floor with KSV. They got the stage experience they will not get. 3 weeks from today, they will go down to Busan and fight against the winner of the gauntlet. They're going to definitely need to be showing their best form if they're going to be able to pick up the title, because it seemed inked before. Now we're less sure, as unfortunately the lingering camera on Crown is uncomfortable for everyone to watch.
Yeah, it really is. Doing his best Faker impression at the end of Worlds. But yeah, man, King Zone, this was a very tight-knit game all the way through. But then they are able to edge it out in the end. King Zone explode forward with a massive gold lead after being back and forth between about 100 gold between these two teams. But they get it in the end. 2-1 victories for them, and KSV are all but out of playoffs here at this point.
What a series. Wonderful series here. One of the best we've had. Very high level also. The mistakes on both sides, but largely, you have to describe the play that won King Zone Game 3. It was a mouthful. It was multiple steps being followed perfectly that got them the pick bot lane into the Baron. The MVP also, it feels like the shot calling could be the MVP. I don't know how you do that, so they're going to have to find someone to give the 100 points to. If it's BDD, basically guarantees that he will be our MVP. Let's see what the decision is. It's going to be BDD, moves to 1,100 points. And Achilles, that means that at worst, he will be tied for the season MVP. So back-to-back, BDD is our regular season MVP.
Yeah, it could be tied with either Tucson or Kuro if they are able to pick up double MVP wins in their series.
Weavis Wall by both mid laners. The Talia play was on a different level in this series. Crown able to get the better of some of the early moves. But it was the rotational play, this play where they got the unbreakable. That was the time to come in. Ruler will look at it and say, I should have flashed, I should have healed, I shouldn't have died there. It's always hindsight is 20/20 in such important matches like this. The Weaver's Wall was great. BDD hit the map really, really well, and KSV only second to King Zone slightly, but it's an 18-week season, and they were not good enough over the 18-match season. They were not good enough over the 9 weeks. Feel anything other than regret that some of those other easier games against MVP and other teams they couldn't win.
But as KSV fans watching this series from home can certainly feel a sigh of relief, because it's showing yet again that KSV can be one of those top performing teams, almost taking the King Zone here in this series. It gives hope for the summer split moving forward.
You know, I understand what you're saying, but give them a week and maybe they'll get there, because today they'll feel a bit like Crown. Today they will feel robbed. Today they will think about the what-ifs and the fact that they took King Zone so close, but that's the nature of a match. That's the nature of performance. It's on the day. Can you get it done? And this play was the reason they couldn't. A hard engage onto Cuvée when they had finally gotten some vision around Baron. They knew that it wasn't being started. They knew the recalls had been completed, and that same passage with the Gnar still dead, this is where the game was won.
See how KSV is going to bounce back when we do come back for the summer split. But rough tidings for them. But if anything, I think that this is going to be extra motivation for them moving forward into the summer split. I don't like seeing players break down like that in the booth. If I know anything about Crown, I think that that is going to be him turning around, practicing even harder to make sure that this team can come back and make their way into the playoffs. Guarantee that for the summer split.
I mean, Crown himself has said he wasn't happy with being a world champion. He felt like he was just a Malzahar bot, and obviously That is something that he was criticized for. He thought he could back it up with a great performance this season. He wasn't really able to, all things considered. But let's celebrate the winners. It's King Zone. It's going to be a team interview. And we get to hear from now at least 50%, you'd think, of the MVP in BDD.
Yep. All right, well, let's go ahead and throw over to Joel for another translation here.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Joe with your interview translations for today. We're here at King Zone. It happened strong from the very beginning of the 2018 spring split. Here they are at the end of it, still looking just as strong as they pick up a 2-1 victory against KSV. We're going to hear from the entire team to see what they think about the season. Winning and second round robin, all victories for you guys, and it's a 9 consecutive win streak. All these positive things just happening left and right for you guys. How do you feel? Didn't think it was going to be an easy game, obviously, against a very it was a tough opponent, and after losing game 2, I got us motivated back again to play a little bit harder to win that game 3. And I think I'm really happy to end the spring split on a high note. And it really was KSV who played always very, very well against King Zone, but anything you'd like to mention about that? It just feels like we were always arch enemies and just always kind of forever rivals when it comes to, you know, being so close all the time. Pino, I'm sure you feel very great about the games today, especially with the Olaf playing so well. I know it was very important for KSV to take the win, but it felt like a revenge kind of both ways, so it was really important for both of our teams right now. He did lose out in the very much the opening game of the split, but I'm sure you guys kept that in mind. Definitely has been such a long time ago that, you know, I almost forgot about it for a bit. But, you know, I do keep it in record, so it's definitely to be there, but, you know, us being first place team, and we knew that we were supposed to be better than any other LCK team right now, so a win was supposed to be understandable. And just really about all these compliments coming about for this team, especially with your Olaf in the jungle. This is something very much a parallel when it comes to you as a player with the Olaf. I mean, I got lucky, come on. But when your teammates play this well, it just makes you look good as a jungler, especially with the coaching staff also putting in so much hard work into making us look better. But of course, you know, with the fans as well, making you look good as well. We do have, you know, despite all the humbleness that's being shown by Pino, we still have a lot of highlights showing why he's such good at this champion. Do you have a specific tip in rushing in like that? I mean, you know, if the axe hits, you know, you just hit it, but if you miss it, just pick up the axe and try it again. Of course, with Pina feeling so well, but let's move on to BDD. 1,100 points in the MVP rankings right now. You did pick up a tie for first last season around, and right now the least you can get is a tie for another first place. I wish it wasn't a tie for first place this time, and since we're just kind of done with the season now, we're just kind of waiting and just trying to enjoy the next game coming up. And what was the who was the most important in providing you with these MVP points with your teammates? Can't really pick out one specific player because everybody helped out in getting me on those. But obviously with Peanut, definitely with the jungler helping out so much, making it look good as well. Of course with BDD in game 3, picking up the MVP for that game, you saw that with the Talia, just picking up amazing picks back and forth, and was really important for you guys. I knew that, you know, the other team was relying on confirmed CCs, and if they don't get that off effectively, then it's easy for us to get the win on most of these team fights.
때마다 다른 것 같아요.
Of course, with this kind of fight right here, it's really important that we don't know exactly what's going to happen, but once the players come in very aggressively like that, we can make these plays.
본인도 플레이 보면서 흐뭇하게
Very much satisfied with his own plays, BDD.
짓고 있습니다. 어쨌든 BDD 선수 이제
Of course,
20연속 MVP 1위고
you do pick up currently the top spot in the MVP rank, but heading into the finals now again. How do you feel about that game that will come in a few weeks' time?
정보 없는 겁니까? 어떻게 된
일단
겁니까?
뭐 솔직히 처음에는 지나가다가 한번 봤거든요.
And at first,
거는 맞췄거든요.
kind of saw what it was like at first, but
한 번은 미리 봤던 거예요. 리허설하는 거 본 거예요?
I kind of saw what the stadium would be like, kind of like, and just kind of get an idea for it. So I'm getting very excited already.
알겠습니다. 자, BDD 선수 만나봤고요. 자, 프레이 선수.
Let's move on to Prey,
또
just for a minute here.
그렇죠.
The face of King Zone and the face of LCK here,
김동준 해설과 더불어서 기타
along with Dongjun, Caster Dongjun. Very much praise for all his good looks, but another good performance for you guys. I mean, today's game wasn't the most important game for us, but it was really important game for KSV. I'm sure they had their lives on the line for this one, but we tried to get the win as much as we could, and I'm glad we got it. And of course, this mattered so much with SKT, and you had some very familiar faces with the organization. But how do you feel about the game right now? I think Peanut's trying to stay as calm as he can about this result as a whole, because he knows what this really means for SKT, for us getting the win right here. And there you go. And of course, it was a former team with SKT. I'm sure he pulled a little bit harder, exerting more effort to getting them the last bit of present he could. And this game was very important for not only King Zone fans, but also other fans from different organizations. And really, this patch has been all about your Jin coming back alive. And since it's been used many times in different leagues around the world, Jin is very much a viable pick, and just gets me a little bit excited to play back again. It really is. Seems like Prey is the only player to actually play that Gen champion. I mean, just my invincible champion pool is cannot be countered.
Always modest, this Prey.
Yeah, he's
And
very.
it's a very pick that I enjoy using, and something that I can really fit into the kind of the composition we're trying to bring out.
그리고 팀원들이 사이온을 잘하는 게 전 개인적으로 프레이 선수한테 배워서라고 생각하는데.
And I'm sure, with the teammates playing Sion so well, we felt like they learned from you. I didn't teach them directly, but kind of showed the exemplaries of how to play this Sion, and they learned from me just watching all the magnificent plays I can do.
입을 떼고 싶어서 지금 안달이 났어요. 칸 선수
And Khan, I'm sure he has something to say to that one. How do you feel right now?
오늘 또 사이온으로 멋진 운전 실력을.
Of course, you picked up some very nice driving skills with the Sion there.
그렇게 주행하는 장면이
A little bit of the drift at the very end to pick up the kills there. You play some games and you really want to show off all these really nice plays, and but later on maybe I'll get a chance to show what a real drift can be.
오늘 또 재밌었던 것이 또 이 솔로 랭크를 이제
What we thought was interesting is that
약간 좀 솔랭에서 좀
the solo queue rankings have been against your side, Khan, for the recent times.
네, 그런 것도 본인이 좀 의식을
Do you feel like that gets to your head when it comes to dropping points there? Yeah, people were around the community were capturing my ranking and trying to make fun of it, but I do try to enjoy the humor as is. It's just as is.
실제로 요즘 좀 적극적으로 이제 다시 치시는 것 같더라고요. 근데 되게 보기 좋더라고요.
I mean, it really seems like you're working a lot harder in the solo queue ranking. Oh, I'm trying to be nice on chat and do all the right things as a professional player.
사기를 좀 붙여주는
그런 쪽에 채팅을 칠 수 있도록 많이
I'll try to make sure I promote good chat behavior from now on.
실제로 그 큐베 선수와의 라인전은 뭐 어땠나요?
And how was that the laning phase with Cube? You know, yesterday I played 2 games against him and got absolutely destroyed by him in lane. So today I'm glad I got a little bit of revenge back.
더욱더 좀 경기를 잘 풀어나갈 수 있는 그런 원동력이 되지 않았나 생각이 듭니다. 칸 선수 이제 결승.
And it really was just going to the finals now, Con.
본인 생각에 이 팀이 올라갈 것 같다.
Which team, if you can pick one, would make it to the finals alongside you guys?
잠깐만 이거 대답 잘못하면 저
If I make a weird answer on this, I'll probably get in a lot of trouble. But oh, Peanut, I don't know what Peanut thinks about this. Like to transfer that answer opportunity for him.
느낌이 딱 SKT가
I think my feeling goes to SKT.
A bold claim.
이제 꼬마 감독님이랑 이제
Especially with Koma, and I talked to them recently, and we promised each other that we would see each other in the finals. But I feel like SKT would make their way once again to make it to the final.
정말 착한 선수예요. 네. 이렇게 유쾌한 선수들과 인터뷰 나눠봤는데
Just a very entertaining interview back and forth with all these happy players right now. But anything you'd like to say before you head out here
정규 시즌 마무리하는 감사 인사
and concluding the regular season here?
네, 저희 오늘 승리함으로써 이제
We did get the victory here. Of course, it was the last game before the finals, but we're going to practice and prepare well so that we'll be well ready to take on the finals and just continue to ask for your support every time. That will be KING ZONE DragonX. It happened very much a success story from beginning to end. Another interview to boot to really show how these guys can really take it off to the next level. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Joel. Well, cheery as always in the interview there. So SKT apparently is going to be the next grand finalist, Papa Smithy, coming from the mouth of Peanut there.
Technically not qualified, but with how good they've looked and also their fairly easy assignment against Kongnu Monster, seems likely. This was a great series between King Zone and KSV. Haven't had too many great top 3 series this season. They've actually not delivered. This one did, so that was cool to see, and congratulations to King Zone. Ending the season 16-2, and also having the shortest season ever in the history of the LCK. Only 40 games to make it. What does it mean for KSV? You'll notice they are at 0 game score. That means if Rox Tigers win, they are through. If Rox Tigers lose, KSV actually will be top 5 because they were able to pick up a single game.
Yep.
So a 2-1 loss for Rox means they'll be -1, and thus they will be eliminated. So that's very interesting. They require a victory here. Jinair have definitely played with people's hearts many times. The SKT fans watching our first series will know all about that. They still have a real chance to actually propel KSV back into the playoffs.
Yeah, and a lot of that you're going to have to expect will rely on Umtig actually having a very strong performance here in this series, get rolling on an aggressive pick, and then just carry Jinair to victory from there. A lot of questions to be had when it comes down to how that's going to turn out here, but we're going to find out in just a little bit. We're going to go to a break, guys, let Jinair and Rox get set up in the booth, and when we come back, we'll have this all-important series that really will put the final nail in the coffin, perhaps, for KSV. So don't go anywhere. Back real soon.